This video is going to show you everything you need to know about the pen tool in Photoshop, and this will also translate over to Illustrator when we use the pen tool there. I'm in Google Classroom. We're looking at pen tool practice. That's where we're going to start. And you can see it says download any of the PNG images below. That's these guys here. You will need to demonstrate that you can create straight and curved lines, so not just straight lines, curved lines too, using the Alt key when clicking on the handle to adjust directions. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. That's for curves. And then using the Shift key to create straight lines. And I will show you that as well. It says choose any color and use the pen tool to trace over the guides in each PNG below. Underlined here. You do not need to complete every single shape. There's a lot of shapes here. So if I click through, these are a lot of shapes. You don't have to do every single shape. You just have to show me that you can do straight lines and curved lines with the pen tool. So just do even just one shape. Like this one, for example, it uses both. Both of these use both straight and curved lines and corner lines. So you just have to show me that you know those two things. If you want to do all of them, great. Like if you just feel like you need more practice, you need help with it, then that's what those are there for. I'm letting you kind of choose based on your skill level. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with the straight lines example. So I'm just going to go ahead and open this in a new window, and we're going to download it. So this will let us download it as a PNG. And then since I'm already here, I'll go ahead and just download. Let's download this one. I'm going to download the combination one. A little bit more advanced. What I really like about these handouts is that they give you instructions. If I zoom in here, you can see, and you'll see this in Photoshop too. There's little numbers here. It gives you instructions like, okay, you start here with the green one, and then you click here, and then you go here. So it's really, really nice for those of us who have never used the pen tool before in teaching us how things work, because it takes a little getting used to. This is not necessarily an easy skill to learn, but once you learn it, it'll just be second nature. It's going to be muscle memory. It'll be pretty easy. So the hardest part is just getting started. So I'm going to Photoshop. I'm going to go to open. We're going to open up the straight lines image first. So that's this one here. And so here I am. I have my magnifying glass here that will let me zoom in. So just make sure it's the plus sign version. We're going to zoom in here, and you can kind of see there's like a little cheat sheet here. And I'll zoom back out here for a second. It says the red button, click once in the middle, hold shift while making vertical or horizontal lines. The blue is drag handle to number, and then the yellow is hold alt. So alt is on your keyboard. You'll want to find the alt key, and you'll hold that while you're dragging a handle, which again, we'll talk more about that with curves. Okay, so we're going to find our pen tool. Pen tool's right over here. I'm going to click on the pen tool. Now the default is often going to be path, and we don't want path. We want it to be set to shape. So path, I'll just show you the difference here. So this is path. Looks like nothing's really happening here. This is just telling the program, okay, I want to do something along these lines that I just created. Maybe it's add text or whatever, but it doesn't fill it in with a color. And then if I click out of it, it's going to eventually disappear. So I'm going to go back here. I'm just doing Control Z to go back. If I change that to shape, it'll just be the default here, which is white. As I click around, you'll see it starts filling in with white. And I can change this at any time. So I could change it, to blue. I can go in my colors and choose any color. So you're allowed to do any color for this, whatever makes sense for you. You may or may not, and I'm going to move this up a little bit. Go to my layers here. You may or may not find it useful to drop the opacity as you're tracing over things, just so you can see like inside, like underneath what you're actually tracing. And that's especially important when you have like detailed areas. We'll get more into that as we go. I'm gonna go back here. All right, so what we're clicking on, or like the clicks that we're making, those are called anchor points. Okay, anchor points, you're just telling it, yep, anchor here. This is where I want you to create, basically my corner, or, I want to start my line. So we have it set to shape. I'm going to choose the color. Let's just choose green for now because I feel like that stands out. And then it gives me the starting point here. So it says click in center of each number, hold shift to make a straight line. So I'm just going to click on the first one. I don't need to hold shift yet. Now I can hold shift, and then I'll click on the second one. And this is going to make a nice straight line. See how it just goes right across? Really, really nice. Okay. Then I'll go to the next one, and you'll see it just goes in order. See how it just goes right in order all the way to the beginning. Now I'm going to click on that beginning anchor point, and that's going to finish the shape. So this is just a shape layer now. Now, since it's still a shape layer, I'm able to edit this at any time. So I can go in and change that fill at any time. I can change, the colors. Maybe I want blue or something, and it will let me change it. If I rasterize this layer, unfortunately, then it will not be editable in the shapes panel. I can still change colors in other ways, but I just want to be clear on that. So it's the same thing with the star. So if I click on the point here, we're just taking, hold shift to make a straight line if you want to make like a straight up and down line, or you can just, click without holding shift, which is what I'm doing here. And as you go along, you'll see it starts to kind of fill on the outside because it's not sure where you want it. But as we close the shape, it'll fill the inside. Now here's where it can be a little like, oh, I can't really see. So dropping that opacity down can be useful. Here we go. Keep clicking. Straight lines, in my opinion, are pretty easy. They're not super difficult to do here, but I just want to see that you can do them. Now I can raise that opacity back up. Something else, stroke. Again, that's going to be outline. So if I click on stroke, maybe I want to give it a black outline. I'm going to make that a little bit thinner, but that will give an outline to the outside of your shape. You are welcome to do that if you feel the need. Okay, so there's my star. Now I'm going to open up the other one, which has some curves in it. So I'm going to go to File, Open, and we're going to go to, we'll do the Batman one first because I feel like we got to start there. I'll zoom in on this one. This one's a little different. You're going to see some other symbols that you probably didn't see on that first one. So here we have the start, right? You're going to see there's kind of the curve of that ear there. And I'm going to show you how to do that. It's basically clicking and dragging. Then you're going to see some handles, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So we're going to go to the pen tool again. I'm going to start on my green. Okay, I can hold down shift if I want just like a straight horizontal line. Now with my 3, if I just click here, it's just going to do a straight line, and we need a slight curve. So I'm going to do Control Z. I'm going to go back. And in order to get that curve, I have to click and hold. So I'm clicking and holding with my mouse. You can see as I drag these handles around, it's kind of creating this crazy curve. Now, the cool thing with this is in the video here, or in the example, right here, the little blue part, it says hold, alt, drag, handle, release. This is where you want your handle to end up. So I'm going to show you what I mean here. So as I'm clicking and dragging, see those little they're almost like 2 little arms sticking out. I want that end of the arm to be about right with the blue dot. And you'll see it just made that curve just ever so slight. Like my curve is following along with the shape, okay? Now here's the alt issue, right? So if I just keep clicking here, like let's say I go to the next one here, you see how it curves over and it warped my image. I'm gonna go back. I need to adjust that handle. So that's where alt comes into play. You're just saying, hey, handle, I want you to go this way. Basically, what the handles are doing is they're kind of telling the program where you want your points to go. So if I was like creating a curve going this way, that handle would be fine. If I just kept going this way, that works just great. Not so great when I want to go down, then it like thinks I want to auto curve it. So here's where I'm going to hold down Alt, and I'm going to click on that point, and I'm going to drag it in the direction that I want it to be. And then I'll just like let it go. Okay, let it go. All right, now when I click on that yellow point, you see how it just went automatically there? That's what we want. Now the next one's going to be another curve. So here's where my handle needs to line up. So I'm going to hold down on that red. So that's number 6. See my handle? I'm going to line that up. That kind of helps you with figuring out which direction you're going. Okay, there we go. Curve looks good. Now we're going to do the same thing with number 3 or number 8. So number 8, again, clicking and dragging, getting that handle about there. This is the part that I think students struggle with the most. And even I sometimes am like, wait, what do I alt? Do I shift? What do I do? Trying to figure out, which one works best. This is another one where you will need to do alt and then drag the handle. So we're going to drag the handle over. You'll see how it changes. So alt, and then it turns into this little just like point. So alt, click, and then drag. We're going to drag that into the direction. We'll release. Okay, and I'll go to 10. And I can curve that a little bit in that direction. Or, and this one is a little off, that point's a little off, or you can just do a straight line. It doesn't really matter. And now we're just going to continue onwards. So let's go to 11. Again, holding down that point here. This one's another curve. It's nothing too crazy. Okay. Here's where we're getting into problems, right? I need to see my layers here. Let me see if I can pull up my layers. Okay, there we go. Drag that back down. I'm going to drop the opacity down here. Okay, now that opacity is really, really useful. If your layers are gone, just do what I did and go to Window Layers. You can find it. Okay, now I need to adjust, and those dashed lines kind of tell you, yep, you need to adjust your anchor points, otherwise it's not going to know it wants to go back. So Alt, pull that over that way, and then click. Click and drag. pretty soon it'll start making a little more sense. So I'm going to Alt, drag it that way. And it'll just be second nature. Like you won't even have to think about it anymore. I'll do this one next. Kind of skipped that one, but that's okay. All right, now here, when you get to the middle, it says at this point, you can switch back to the selection tool, duplicate the line you made, and flip vertically. So we're gonna transform it. Basically, we're saving ourselves some time because it's a symmetrical image. So I'm gonna go back, let's find my tools. I don't really know what happened to my tools. We're gonna just find them. See if I can find my stuff. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna zoom back out. Oh, even my options are gone here. Hang on. I'm just going to do Control minus. There we go. I think my options disappeared. There they are. Okay. So I'm almost done here. What I'm going to do with the pen tool now is I'm actually going to finish that shape. So I ended there and now I can just go here. So we're just going to like finish that shape off. Now I can duplicate this. So I'm going to bring my opacity back up. Okay. Since it's a symmetrical image, we can just duplicate it on the other side. The Superman, it wouldn't work that way because it's not symmetrical. It's not the exact same on both sides. But for this one, we can do that. So I can right click here and just say duplicate layer or Control J on the keyboard. So duplicate layer, I'll just say okay. Now I have my duplicate, there it is. Now I have to transform it. So here it even gives you the shortcut, Object Transform, Reflect Vertical. So I'm gonna go into Edit, Transform, and even here we could just say flip horizontal. Ta-da! And then I can just click and drag it and bring it over. I have snap on, so sometimes that messes with things. Let me turn off snap. So go to view snap. This will let me like customize it. Cool. It's not too bad. It's not perfect, but you get the idea. So if you complete something like this, like just the Batman, that's all I really need because it shows me that you can make straight lines and curved lines, mostly curved lines in this one, but I can still see that you'd understand, you know, if you understand curved lines, chances are you understand straight lines too. So from here, with what you have here, what you're going to do is you'll just say File, Export, and then Quick Export as PNG. You can also turn in the PSD file too. So if you just say File, Save As, and keep it as a PSD file, that's okay too. I don't really mind either way. I just want to see evidence that this is what you've done. It does need to be your own work, so it shouldn't look like your neighbor's. Make sure, you know, it's not identical to somebody else's to make sure that we maintain academic honesty. And that's it. That's all I need to see to check and make sure that you understand the pen tool. This is enough to where you'll be able to do your cartoon selfie. So I hope you enjoy and at least feel like you're learning something new. And as always, you can always ask your teacher, myself and other graphic design teachers for help. All right. Thanks.